I
I need an officer. Putting me into a bad spot here.
Hey, Bustin, you forget about me?
I need the name of the cop with the gray hair. Like
You don't blame her? Hey. Alright, he's sending you off duty for the rest of the shift.
This is bullshit.
I don't know what's going on. He said he was just...
I don't know why I'm being sent off duty.
I think it was the attitude you gave him.
I didn't mean to give him fucking attitude, but because there's like a million things going on. I'll talk to him, but like... fucking... Everything that we're being told to do when it comes to 9/5s is just being disregarded, so I'm just like, okay, what?
I know. Hey, I get it, but these are the situations, so... this is what he told me, so go off duty for now, and then you can talk to him, alright? I mean, Black's not going to,
Excuse me, sir.
yeah. I know she's trying to do her job, but...
To send them off instead of me, if it's not working.
I know that. No pulp for me. Thank you for the follow. I understand that, but it's also like he said he'll take care of it, so just let him take care of it. Just be like, okay. And then just move on. Bustin?
Another officer who then walked up to someone while they were in a gunfight and started apologizing and talking to him about it. Then that same officer started yelling at another officer on the radio.
Yeah,
we have Kadumchuk, who is denying people medical so that they can get a GSR test and handcuff people, which I'm not completely like, I would like to have understood her point, but since she doesn't want to shut the fuck up whenever I'm trying to deal with the situation and wants to backtalk about wanting to process a certain way, she's not going to be on duty for the rest of the day. Right. And then we have the other officer who was handling the situation, who did a shit job, and then decided to get into an argument with the same officer who was yelling or talking to a 95. So
on the fucking radio of all things.
On the radio, which I have zero tolerance for. So
Same.
The one who shot the individual, I'm gonna talk to him. I want Black. You're gonna go over exactly.
I know
how
that's what this is.
That kind of situation. He's going off duty for the day. The guy who talked on the radio and wanted to backtalk and run his fucking mouth over the radio and complain and talk over not only myself but the other officer, he's going off duty for the rest of the day. The officer who is handling the scene, he needs to understand that whenever he's handling a scene or something's going on, if he takes that leadership role, he needs to make sure that people are in positions that aren't going to fuck over everything. He just needs talking to. I think his intent was fine, but it was, again, just the other people are just making him fucking
was that
an idiot.
Justice that was the scene lead?
Yeah. Justice was trying to manage things, but he has one guy yelling over the radio, fucking talking to him or talking back about what he thinks should happen. And then another guy who just walks up and starts shooting a man with his gun down and his hands up.
That's a lawsuit.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nadal is the one that talked over the radio, by the way, and back-talked you and talked over top of you. And I'd like to blame Watson, though, just for fun, because it's your birthday.
Well, let's go and explain the whole situation, and then we're sending those two off duty.
Sounds good.
Is Kadumchuk already off duty?
Already off duty, sir.
Wonderful. I understand you were taking scene lead. I understand that you were trying to make calls and comms and
I know.
people in place.
I know,
Small.
Small.
Started yelling out on the radio. My only thing with you is Justice is that when someone starts yapping back and I just want the manner of correction to be different. Okay, instead of heightening your voice and saying it with anger, say it more with direct and command. Does that make sense? I can hear you getting pissed. A Black could hear you getting pissed. Tarts could hear you getting pissed. Everyone knew that you were pissed over him talking over you. And he's going to go off of duty for the rest of the day for that. It's unacceptable. You know that. Everyone knows that. I just need you, especially, like, let's be honest, you're going to be an NCO at some point. Whenever you correct things like that in these scenes and you're trying to take command of these scenes, those corrections need to be done a certain way. And when that something like that happens, I don't want it to be over the radio for everyone to hear. I would like it to be more of a sidebar. Now I get it. It was part active situation. Trust me, I was listening. I get it. But the other main concern I have is you got to make sure when you're taking lead on these scenes, make sure those motherfuckers aren't bleeding into the fucking gunfight. Like you had 2 officers who were staged above the tunnels, literally 5 feet away from 10 people shooting at each other. Those are the people where you're going to sit there, especially if you're scene lead. You don't need to be the person who is right up on there, paying attention. Your job as scene lead is to put your officers in positions to look and to find this information out for you. Your job isn't to do literally.
Yo, Saw,
everything
thank you so
but
much for the
it's impossible.
follow.
That's why I'm always the one who on the scenes, and when I do have lead, I'm always the one who's the last one there. I'm always the one who's the farthest one out, trying to figure out what officers are doing, telling people
Yo,
person,
that Lima
person. You
Echo?
got to separate
Lima Echo?
yourself
Lima. It's Lima
from
Echo.
harm's way while also
Lima
making sure
Echo.
officers understand.
I don't know why I thought it was Lima, but it's Lima.
And once you get sufficient, once you get those 8,
It's
move it up on the
phonics.
fucking
Like I
radio.
fucking know
And
them.
then
I
you
know
have
those.
officers, are you sufficient? Are you sufficient? Are you sufficient? And
I know
it's just too
those.
much. So
Yes, sir.
when you're controlling these scenes, man, take fucking control. If people backtalk you, go to the side afterwards, and just try your hardest. I know that officer did not make it easy to tell him to shut the fuck up, but in a nice way. Just try harder next time. Right?
Yeah, I definitely will. And it definitely was a really challenging scene. I was trying to get control of everyone, but everyone was butting in with their own opinions. And I was trying to just get everyone to be north of the tunnel, south of the tunnel. Even like Dimitri, I asked them to jump out the car, take some photos of the gunfight so we could get evidence. But everyone was supposed to be staging on the north side of the bridge away from the gunfight. But just people weren't listening, and they were still sitting up on the hill.
Listen, there's you could probably pick out 20 different scenes that I've been the lead of that the same shit happens on. It's fine, and you're an officer. People think that if you're the same rank, they don't have to listen to you. That's a problem I've had for years. So I get it. I'm not mad at you. I'm just more giving you some criticism and just a little bit more information to handle it next time. And the officers that did do dumb shit are going to be handled. So you're good. Get back out on duty.
All right. Thank you for this, sir. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Have a good day.
All right. Thanks.
And then, like, when we
All right, Andal, come on.
At 80. All right. I couldn't do a single comm because primary just wasn't
Hello.
transmitting information.
All right. So I'm just gonna be very, very honest with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
That scene was Justice's scene. It was his scene on the radio. It was his scene there.
Couldn't agree more, sir.
When you have someone running a scene, okay, it is one thing to make recommendations and to ask and to try and figure out the best plan. It is another thing to talk over officers and to try and change plans as your scene lead is trying to put people in place. Now, I have an issue with when people are saying something and I have an opinion or I have a suggestion, I talk over them. I understand that it is something that is hard to fix, but I'm telling you right now, if you cannot fix that, you will not be an officer in this PD for very much longer.
I understand, sir.
On the radio, there was multiple times where Justice was talking. Even I myself was talking after saying 10-3. And your ass was still yapping on the radio about what is going on. Now, I understand it is an active gunfight. I understand that it's fucking chaotic, man. I get it. But that is unacceptable to not only talk over officers and your captain, but to then, when someone is taking scene lead, to then get into a yelling match over what is going on. Do I make myself understood?
Yes, sir.
It's unacceptable.
I agree, sir.
I'm letting you know you are going to be getting a DR for this. We're going to be writing it up. It will be on your profile. I do not want to hear about this happening from you anymore. If you are on a scene and you are the scene lead, then you can talk all you want and you can command officers all you want. But if you are not the scene lead, you are to listen, you are to go to where they tell you, and you are to do as they want, not as you want, and try and take over.
I understand.
Okay. You're suspended for the rest of this shift. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day.
Understood.
You can bring the next one in, Arts.
All right.
Or Black,
I'll
whoever.
get the getting that DR written up.
Thank you. I don't even know who the fuck this one is. This is the wrong guy.
Salem, why are you here?
You
I was on the scene, and
No.
he said the one that was standing up, and I was
I'm
standing
talking
up.
about the one with.
Salem,
Get
get
the
the fuck
fuck
out of
outta
here!
here,
All
man.
right, beautiful. Thank God. Thank God. I was fucking scared. I was like, oh fuck.
All right, Shin, come on. This was there, and
What was that you stuttered?
All right. So we got a couple issues. Issue number one. I want to know what was going through your head when you're on scene. You're on the top of the hill. Individual starts running up. He puts away his gun, and then you open fire on him. What was going through your mind when this was going on?
As soon as I saw him put away his gun and face me, I immediately stopped firing and pulled back.
So, okay, I'm just gonna be honest with you.
Because I heard.
I'm just gonna be 100% honest, transparent with you.
Okay.
As high command, I'm able to review body footage on what happened, and I can tell you now, it might be an eye issue. His gun was away for about 5 to 7 seconds while you were still shooting at him. After you started shooting at him, and then he went to walk back down the hill, you shot him again a second time. Now,
I
understand-
honestly did not see that, sir. I
I
could have
get that.
swore he had a gun out.
I get that, and I understand. But as your captain, I want to make something very clear. In a lot of situations, there's mistakes that can happen, and an understanding that can be made about, okay, this was a mistake, and I do not think that you went there with the intentions of shooting a man with his hands up, trying to be a fucking asshole.
No, I've never done that.
I've never had an issue with you doing something like that, and I do not think it was heinous. Okay, but it still happened.
Yes,
So,
sir. And I even owned up to it.
Yeah. So this is what's going to happen now. You're going to be receiving a DR for it. Okay. You cannot. These are the types of mistakes that ruin an entire. I mean, it did ruin this entire situation. When you have these big busts, especially mass casualties, there's a lot on the line. There is the 95's time. There's the other people shooting at them time. There's the entire gunfight that they had. It's the officer's paperwork, the evidence, all of that stuff is, and I'm not trying to make you feel bad, like this is just the reality. All of that has been crumbled up and thrown into the trash over the mistakes that were happened. And it's not just you, multiple officers. He just got sent off as well for the radio bullshit. So you're going to be getting a DR for it. Okay. This cannot happen. When you fire that firearm, I need you to be 100% certain that that individual, number one, you need to warn them. You can't just roll onto a scene where there's a gang-on-gang violence and you just shoot the first person that has a gun out. That's number one. You cannot
if I may,
do that.
sir.
Absolutely.
I was shouting at the time, and I did yell out 3 to 5 times, put the weapon down as they were firing at what I thought was officers, because I heard officers being shot.
So I do not doubt that. In the body cam, I saw you were at the top of the hill. Now, again, there's a big difference between yelling for people to stop shooting while there's an active gunfight going on below you and yelling at an individual who is going up a hill towards you, just fucking hands up, where you're going to open fire. That never happened. On top of that, there wouldn't have been any confusion from either side if that were to happen. And I can promise you, I don't know, again, it could have been a vocal issue. I'm not calling you a liar. There's 1,000 things it could have been. But the reality of the situation is that it wasn't, and that the message that individual needed to leave the scene was not properly commanded and was not seen or heard the correct way. Okay?
Yes,
so
sir.
whenever you fire that firearm, you, the person you're shooting at, and everyone around you should have 100% confidence and should 100% understand why the bullet is leaving that gun. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir. 100%. Crystal clear.
Okay. Listen, I don't hate you, and I'm not mad at you. Mistakes happen. I know that this was a mistake. But with that being said, an entire investigation just basically we got ruined by this and something else. So we're gonna be putting in a DR. Okay.
What's a DR?
DR is basically something to where whenever you're going to get a promotion or something, this is something that's going to be paperwork trail to look at for us as high command. Now, I'm not saying that that's going to hinder you from, being promoted at some point. I mean, it could, but I highly doubt it. Again, we're going to make sure, I'm going to read over it, make sure that it's properly written, that it was a mistake, but it's still a mistake that needs to be handled.
Captain,
Okay?
can I be honest?
Yes.
I'm honestly not here for promotions. I'm just here to do my job as an officer to Los Santos, help the people, and go to bed. That's all I'm here for. I'm not
Good.
after promotion.
Well, good. I'm glad to hear that. So, that's good. What I can say is for this situation that did go down, you are going to be having to go off a shift for the rest of the day. Just again, we're going to be writing up the DR, and this is the punishment that I believe suits the mistake.
Can I come on duty tonight on AU shift?
Sure, absolutely.
Thank you, sir. Because it'll probably be about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning Pacific Los Santos.
That's fine. I'm cool with you coming on duty in AU shift.
Thank you, sir. Happy birthday, sir.
I appreciate that, brother. Again, I'm not mad at you, man. Mistakes happen. We just got to correct them when they do.
And if I may be honest, I also sent you an email about an issue too.
Okay, sounds good. I'll take a look at it. You have a wonderful day, okay?
You too.
All right, see you, man.
All right. If you go to their profiles, you'll be able to see the disciplinaries. I already put them both on. They're short, simple, exactly just what happened.
All
right. His is going to be report 3447. And then if you need to add anything, go ahead and,
I'll do all that bullshit later.
Yep. And then
I mean,
adult.
it's frustrating because for these guys, like, okay, I'm gonna be honest. The first officer that we sent off, I'm forgetting his name already. He's just like, I know his problem because I have the same problem. You want to say something, and it's very hard to shut the fuck up, let someone else speak, and then say it after that person has spoke. And it's not the first time he's done that, and it will not be the last time. But what he needs to understand is especially on the radio where there's 25 officers that are using that radio frequency, that cannot happen.
With this situation, was it a matter of the gang shooting had exceeded the 5 minutes of warnings and then we opened fire?
No. So what happened in the situation is justice takes lead. Justice is trying to get people in positions. The officer we just sent off duty and the other officer both yeah. So they go on that hill and like, which I don't hate, but at the same time, when you go on that hill, you have to have some self-control. So when someone goes up there to a vantage point, you're not just opening fire like that. You just ruin the entire situation. That cannot happen.
Yeah.
And then justice tries to tell the other officer to back up. And then the other officer just starts yelling over the fucking radio.
Yeah, I heard that, Leon, and I were like, what the fuck?
And
before you piped in, I almost said 10-3 and get yourself out of the situation before I get there.
Yeah, and with Kadumchuk, listen, I'm gonna be very, very, very blunt and honest. Kadumchuk is very lucky to still have a job here already. And Kadumchuk needs to understand that I have nothing against her. I like Kadumchuk. I'm the reason she's still hired here, especially after the whole bank fiasco. But with that being said,
Skittles, thank you for the follow.
Situations goes down. She needs to take a deep breath, and she needs to assess the situation. Denying people medical so that she can do her job is not the correct thing to be doing. Even if she wanted to do something like that, walking over and doing it instead of telling officers to stop helping them and stop trying to save their lives so that she can GSR them and that she can do this or someone else should, like that's not something you say in front of 95s, right? I do it all the time. If let's say someone's getting medical and I'm like, oh shit, I don't know if they've been GSR'd, I don't know if they've been handcuffed, I will go and do it myself.
Yep.
But the moment you verbalize something like that in front of 95s, imagine you're sitting there, you just got shit on by another gang or you just got shot up. And then you hear an officer, while someone else is trying to help you, say, hey, get off of that body, go GSR test them and search them. I'd get pissed too.
I'd be fucking livid.
And that's what they were pissed, man. And I don't blame them, because again, like we always talk about, that's what we talk about with having a little bit of feel, understanding that a situation has gone south for somebody, and knowing that by saying that you're only putting salt in the wounds. You know what I mean?
Exactly that. Yeah, we see everybody at their worst fucking day, so we must rise above.
There it is. And then whenever we're in the sales, and I tell her to get away from the 95 and that I'm going to handle it, I am okay with her disagreeing with that. I am okay with her pulling me to the side and asking questions.
Oh, I don't know.
Scuffing underneath her voice and showing her disdain in front of not only her 95, but in front of another officer, in front of a sergeant and a lieutenant, and thinking that that is in any way, shape, and form okay is not going to fly.